back into how do you know if you're posting good content. So there's a thing called a V.R.I.N score. It's V.R.I.N. The first one starts for value. What is the value of what you're posting? So the people that are consuming the content, what do they get out of it? Let's give a spectrum of one being there's nothing good about it, five being it's generic, just like anybody else's, and 10 being you're the only person on the planet to ever do it. So let's say you have a client, they're a pizza shop, and you want to post, I don't know, them making pizza or being next to a pizza. What is the value of that? It's one, it's garbage. The people that post that type of stuff is just like everyone else. You know, Anybody that has a pizzeria who's trying to do their own social marketing, they're going to post, generic pictures of pizza. So you want to make sure that the value is high. How do you get the value high? Well, you make sure that the people who are consuming that content, they are getting something that they don't get anywhere else. So what would be good for a pizza shop? Maybe it's behind the scenes. You're in the kitchen and they're educating you on what type of machines they use to make certain food. Even that is like, because it's probably been done before. But you get where I'm going with this. So the next one is rare, right? Which kind of is a play on the same thing that we're talking about. You want to make sure that it has a lot of entertaining quality and a lot of education quality. Then you get to rare, and it's like, well, who else is doing this? Make sure you're not following the pact and that you're leading, by example. Then your next score you're going to get to is a fancy word. What was it? Inability? No, I'm not saying that right. I'm going to have to look it up. I'm using the phone to record this, so I can't do it at the moment. I would go back in and edit this, but here's a learning opportunity. So when you're recording the videos, if you go in and edit stuff out, the person on the other end never knew that there was a mistake. And that's not good because then they don't get a chance to learn. So let this be a little side note to when we get into video animations and video marketing and stuff like that and talking about editing. You may want to keep some of the imperfections in just so you give that added value to the person who's consuming this content. But in any case, I got to update you guys on that word that I can't think of at the moment. And basically, the definition of it is how hard is it to mimic? So, if a competitor was to come in and try to copy what you're doing, do you make the barrier of entry super easy? A little threshold, like they can just pick up their phone and do whatever it is you're doing? Or do you frame it with context or content? Like if I gave you my background story of how I was in emotional support classes and learning disabled classes from the time of kindergarten. I failed kindergarten twice before they had to move me through the system because I was getting too old to be grouped in with younger females. So they put me in these special classes. I get horrible learning environment. I have behavior disorders. I'm having the worst time through my academic experience. That can't be duplicated. There's going to be other people out there that relate to that, but to tell my triumph story of, you know, going from graduating high school being dyslexic and illiterate, I couldn't read or write, having a really poor vocabulary, always getting in trouble with cops, never getting a good job and keeping it. You fast forward through bad relationships, love life, all that kind of stuff. Fast forward to I'm teaching myself real estate. I'm investing in properties. I buy a home. I move cross country. I get into trucking. I start making six figures, teaching people how to drive 18 wheelers. I get into investing. I get into life insurance. I get into digital marketing, building apps. The list goes on and on and on. And so not a lot of people out there can replicate that story. That's where I am a expert. I have the authority of telling you about these experiences. Wow, I got way sidetracked off of how rare that score is. Okay, so then the I, which is that funny word, N, is non-replaceable. So how safeguarded is your content that you make on a daily basis that the people that are consuming it couldn't go without it? They need it on a daily basis. And if it's non-replaceable, then you give each one of these four categories a score of 1 to 10. Let's just say I have a score of 29, right? Maybe I get a 1 in one category, I get an 8 in another category, and I get two 10s in two of the others, right? So divide that by 4. That would be 7.25, right? So anything that's a 7 is like okay. Ideally, you want an 8 or above. Anything below a 6, it's not even worth posting. You know what I mean? So when you're thinking about the content that you're creating, go through each one of these phases and make sure that you're getting a really high score, and then you'll know that you can post something like that.